Welcome to Prevish Exam. Today we're jumping back in time, way back, to ancient India to unpack the story of its very first superpower. We are talking about the Magadha Empire, a kingdom so powerful, so legendary, it literally stopped Alexander the Great dead in his tracks.
All right, let's paint the picture. It's the 6th century BCE. The Indian subcontinent isn't one country, but this incredible patchwork of 16 major kingdoms, what we call the Mahajanapadas. And you gotta understand, this place was a pressure cooker of rivalry and constant warfare. A true battle royale for control was about to kick off.
And that leads us to the big question, the one that pops up in exams all the time. With so many powerful players on the field, how on earth did just one kingdom, Magadha, manage to outplay, outfight, and outlast every single rival to build the first great Indian empire? Now, even though there were 16 kingdoms, the real title fight came down to just 4 heavyweights: Magadha, Kosala, Avanti, and Vatsa. Each one was a powerhouse in its own right, but only one of them had the secret sauce for total domination. See, Magadha's win wasn't just a lucky break. Not at all. It was the result of this amazing combination of strategic advantages. And understanding this winning formula is absolutely crucial, because when it comes to your exams, this is a topic you're definitely going to see. So let's break down this winning formula, this secret sauce. It really boils down to 3 huge things. First, their unbeatable location. Second, their powerhouse economy. And third, a line of incredibly smart and often ruthless leaders who knew exactly how to use those first 2 advantages. Okay, let's talk geography. I mean, look at this. Their first capital, Rajagriha, was a natural-born fortress, wrapped up by 5 hills. It was almost impossible to attack. Then they moved to Pataliputra, which was a stroke of genius. It was a jaladurga, a water fort, with the massive Ganga and Son rivers as its moats. Plus, all this land gave them incredibly fertile plains for food, and, this is key, access to the richest iron ore deposits around. And what does iron get you? Better weapons and better tools. And that geography leads straight to their economic muscle. All that farming meant a surplus of food. All that iron and copper created a kind of ancient military-industrial complex. Controlling the Ganga meant they controlled trade. And they were one of the first to really use currency, these cool punch-marked silver coins, to build a serious economy. So what do you do with all that cash? You build the first big, professional, full-time army in the entire region. But, resources don't mean a thing without smart leadership. The rise of Magadha wasn't a one-shot deal. It was a project built over generations, by 3 dynasties in a row, each one adding a new, stronger layer to the empire, starting way back in 544 BCE. So here's a quick roadmap for you. Keep this in your head. It kicks off with the Haryanka dynasty in 544 BCE. They're the ones who laid all the groundwork. Then came the Shishunaga dynasty, who took out a huge rival. And finally, the Nanda Dynasty, who took all of that potential and turned it into an absolute superpower. Our story really starts with Bimbisara from the Haryanka dynasty. This guy was a master strategist. He had this brilliant 2-part plan. On one side, you have diplomacy. He made these matrimonial alliances, marrying princesses from powerful states like Kosala to keep his borders safe. Now listen up, because matrimonial alliances are a classic exam topic. On the other side, pure conquest. He just went ahead and annexed weaker neighbors like Anga to grab their trade routes, a perfect carrot-and-stick strategy. Bimbisara's son, Ajatshatru, was all about military tech. He brought out these terrifying new war machines. And for your exams, you absolutely need to remember these names. You've got the Mahashalakantaka, basically a giant catapult that launched huge stones, and the Rathamusala, a deadly chariot with spinning maces. Seriously, these names are pure MCQ gold. He used this new tech in a brutal 16-year-long war to conquer Vaishali, and he also gets credit for hosting the first Buddhist council. The next ruler to know is Udayin, Ajatshatru's successor. His biggest move, and another key fact for your exams, was shifting the capital. He moved it from that defensive fortress of Rajagriha to the much more central, commercially vital river fort of Pataliputra. This new spot was right at the heart of their kingdom, perfect for controlling trade and running the whole show. So after the Haryankas, the Shishunaga dynasty takes over, and their claim to fame? They took down the big boss. For 100 years, Magadha's #1 rival was the powerful kingdom of Avanti. Well, it was Shishunaga who finally defeated them, ending this epic rivalry and just absorbing Avanti into his growing empire. Game over. So you see how this is building?
Each dynasty stands on the shoulders of the last, which brings us to the Nandas. These are the guys who took Magadha from being just the strongest kingdom around to becoming India's first true empire. Their founder was Mahapadma Nanda. He's often called the first historical emperor of India. And get this, he wasn't from the traditional warrior class, the Kshatriyas. He totally leaned into it, taking these incredibly bold titles like Ekrat, which means the one and only sovereign, and Sarvakashtriyantika, the destroyer of all other Kshatriyas. I mean, talk about a statement. Those are great titles to remember for your exams. And to back up those massive claims, the Nandas built an army that was just mind-blowing. Let this number sink in for a second. 6,000 war elephants. These were the tanks of the ancient world. That one number tells you everything you need to know about the kind of power they had. And that was just the start. The Nanda army also had 200,000 infantry, 20,000 cavalry, and 2,000 war chariots. But an army like that, well, it doesn't pay for itself. It was funded by a super efficient but also really harsh system of taxes. This made the last Nanda king, Dhanananda, incredibly powerful, but also really, really unpopular with his own people. And all of this immense power was about to face a huge test. Because from the west, a new force was sweeping across the known world, the Macedonian army, led by none other than Alexander the Great. A clash of titans was on the horizon. By 326 BCE, Alexander had conquered his way all the way to the Indus River. His army had literally never been defeated. But as they stood on the border of India, they started hearing stories. Stories about the massive empire that lay just beyond the next river, the empire of the Nandas. The legend of the Nanda army under Dhanananda was just that terrifying. The stories of their hundreds of thousands of soldiers and those thousands of war elephants, it was enough to break the spirit of Alexander's undefeated army. His battle-hardened veterans mutinied. They just flat out refused to go any further. The Nanda Empire stopped the world's greatest conqueror without even fighting a single battle. Their reputation did all the work. Okay, wow, that was a lot to cover. So let's bring it all together and summarize. For everyone preparing for exams, this next bit is for you. This is the high-yield stuff, so let's lock it in. This little table here has everything you need. The Haryankas, with Bimbisara and Ajatshatru, they built the foundation. The Shishunagas knocked out their main rival, Avanti, and the Nandas, with Mahapadma and Dhanananda, took it to the finish line, creating that first true empire and stopping Alexander. Honestly, this is the perfect moment to screenshot for your notes. So to wrap it all up, Magadha's rise wasn't an accident. It was a perfect storm of great geography, a strong economy, and powerful leadership. We saw how three key dynasties, the Haryanka, Shishunaga, and Nanda, each built on the successes of the last. And remember those key names. The Nanda's power was so immense it stopped Alexander the Great. But that same power, built on oppressive taxes, made them unpopular, and that opened the door for the next great dynasty, the Mauryans. I really hope this deep dive helps you get a solid grip on this super important topic. Don't forget, you can register at praveshexam.com to get access to free mock tests for government exams and some really cool AI-powered learning tools. And of course, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more explainers to help you ace your exams.